square table, man.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been probably a couple years since last time I was on this show.
Alondra, I believe you wanted to kick
So
off.
I really want to know, what does it feel like, John? Finally having that in your hands, like just being like, yes, you've achieved something here. How does it feel?
Oh my god! I mean, it's hard to put into words what it feels like to be part of the history of a character you've been watching your entire life. You know what I mean? Kind of like what AJ was talking about earlier with the spiral toys. It's just sort of surreal. And I don't know. I was thinking about it earlier today. I went for a walk and I started thinking about it. And I said, I should be more excited about this, but I feel like it's just business as usual for me. You know, it's kind of weird. Like it hasn't really sunken in yet.
How long?
So,
How long of a process has this been?
oh, this started while I was on vacation in where was it? Bethany Beach, Delaware, last August, early August. And the idea actually came from Five Points Festival last year.
Shout out to
Talking to
5
my
Points.
buddy Chris. Yeah, talking to my buddy Chris at Seismic Toys because he also has the license. And I said, let me reach out to Subaraya and pitch him the idea and see if they want to go for T-shirts because, as my wife always likes to say to me, you know, people don't always have wall space, but they love wearing clothes. And I always knew apparel was the way to go. I mean, I would do some, you know, small runs of shirts for conventions and they would just sell out. I mean, immediately. So I kind of knew like that's where I need to go next. So, you know, nobody was doing Ultraman and I just sort of like swooped right in and, you know, here I am.
That was gonna be my next question. Why Ultraman? Like, what about that character really like speaks to you?
Well, number one, nobody was doing it. So he has that going for him. How does he speak to me? It's kind of like the same way Godzilla speaks to me, but in a much different way. Ultraman is more. So Ultraman is basically Japan's Superman, right? He upholds justice.
That's a great way to do it. Yeah, that's a great way to compare it.
Right, and certain Ultramen are like the best part of humanity. You know, like when they take a human form, like Ultra 7 is my personal favorite, and he takes the human form as Dan Moriboshi joins here at Defense Force, TDF rather, and he is basically the epitome of what a good human being should be, you know, striving to be the best they can be, always wanting to help people, fighting for justice, fighting for truth, balance in the world, in the universe. And there's times where he was trying to help alien races and trying to prevent war and chaos, and it just sort of spoke to me, you know. Just and as I've watched all the Ultra shows throughout the years, they always sort of, I don't know, they grab you by the feels at the end of each series. You know, they do something emotional. They really get you. As formulaic as the shows can be, sometimes they really know how to bring it home, how to bring it back to what that character is by the end, like why this character exists, why he's doing what he's doing, and justifying its existence. So that's what Ultraman says to me.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up how like he is Japan's Superman because someone had just been to Japan. It really is that. Like,
is he like everywhere?
Ultraman is everywhere. Godzilla is like the old man thing.
Really?
Like Godzilla is not for the cool kids. Yeah, like
wow.
It's all about Ultraman is everywhere. So that was when I went to Japan. I was like, wow, that's weird because like you would think, you know, for Americans, you think Japan, you think Godzilla, which that's kind of the thing. Like Ultraman, still, I haven't seen Shin Ultraman yet, but I'm hoping that is the movie that starts to bring Ultraman more mainstream over here, other than just Power Rangers. Power Rangers is the only like tokusatsu thing that really caught on here. I don't know why.
I mean,
it's like I know why. I mean, for me, it was like all the Zords are dinosaurs.
Well,
I mean, these are ninjas.
For me, anything with a giant
Power
robot.
Rangers.
You give me anything with a giant robot, and I'll watch it.
Yeah,
there's not much I won't watch.
It's funny how like Ultraman just never hit, and I don't know if it's just because he's a singular character. But I remember I think it was Ultraman Joe was the anime, which is the one that was my first introduction to Ultraman, was that crazy anime that my grandma was letting me watch probably when I shouldn't be watching. Yeah. So like, but that's that, and then the Super Nintendo game, the Super Nintendo fighting game.
Oh my
Ultraman
God.
game.
Way to throw that back.
Yeah, those are like my
existed.
introductions to Ultraman. And it's something that I did buy Ultra Q, which I want to start from the beginning, but I have not had a chance to start it yet. Speaking of, so what is your favorite Ultraman
iteration?
Yes.
Oh, by far Ultra 7.
Yeah.
Easily Ultra 7. Yeah. And then Ultraman Nexus, followed by Ultraman Gaia, Tiga, Dyna, Ultraman Max. I have
Throwing out all these things.
Yeah. I know this is like foreign to most Godzilla fans because there's Godzilla fans that won't even watch Gamera movies, much less Ultraman.
That one's strange to me, yeah.
Yeah, I'll never understand that one. But Ultraman, to sort of piggyback off of what you were saying in Japan, Ultraman is still going, right? He's still in the consciousness of the populace over there. They constantly new shows. They have a new show coming out, Ultraman Blazer, which is taking a more mature take on the character, which is something that the American licensees have been sort of pushing for. I don't want to say licensees, but let's just say there are people over here that have been the ones bringing Ultraman to the States, and they've been, sort of telling them, like, we need to go more mature if you want to basically break into the States. There's also the Netflix animated series coming out. It's not an animated series, I'm sorry. It's an animated movie brought to you by ILM, which is kind of crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. It's coming out next July.
Oh, that's not even. Netflix, you're not even talking about the anime Netflix one. This is something different.
Yeah, the show.
Yeah, this is its own. Yeah, this is its own original Netflix cartoon made by Gaijin, and it's going to be a whole new reinterpretation of the character while sticking close to its roots. So
I was going to say, how do you feel about that? Like them trying something different while trying to stay true to the source material?
As long as it's good. If they do it well and it brings more eyes to the franchise, I'm all for it. It's Ultraman is sort of ripe for, interpretation and inclusion, and it's also ripe for exploitation here in the States, right? Like Godzilla has sort of been done to death, and Godzilla fans have very concrete ideas, very concrete ideas of what Godzilla should be, right? So, there's people that love the legendary stuff. I'm not a huge fan. I know a lot of younger people are, and that's cool. That's their Godzilla. It's not mine. But Ultraman, he's been through so many incarnations that it could literally, it could be anything. It really, so like the Sentai shows, they could just be whatever they want to make it, which is, like I said, opens it up to more and more interpretations that are more current with modern sensibilities, et cetera, et cetera. So, like I said, if it brings eyeballs to the franchise, I'm all for it. And if it's good, it's good. Can't deny if something's good, right?
No, you can't. It's how did you feel about the Netflix series? Did you think it was good? Is it true to the source material?
The anime series?
Yeah.
I like. Yeah, I like the. I read the books, the manga, and the manga is, of course, like 10 times better.
Always.
And
almost always.
So season 2 in the books was incredible, but they gutted it. I don't know why they gutted it so much, but season 3 rebounded nicely.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, though, it's sort of,
did season 3 introduce giant monsters yet, or did they still not do that?
There's only one, and that's Zeton.
At least there's one.
There's one. You
Yeah,
gotta have one. Gotta have one.
Yeah, that's. I think the majority of that's everyone's major complaint is like everything would have been awesome if they just would have.
Well, I thought so. I'm obviously not so familiar with Ultraman and the its history, but I thought that was the one thing I knew about it. Like, oh, Ultraman gets big and
grows enormous and fights giant monsters. Yeah,
fights giant monsters.
Right.
Like,
and now they just said we're not going to do that, which was it's like one of those decisions where it's like
who's making those? We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
Who makes these?
Who
decisions?
makes that decision?
Who makes them?
But I do like the show though. Like I like the style. It's very interesting.
A lot of people have a hard time with that animation style.
I wish it was just anime.
Yeah,
the
CGI.
Yeah,
it's a lot, but most anime is going in that direction. Like if you look at like Chainsaw Man. So Chainsaw Man is a very popular anime right now, and they incorporate a lot of that CGI styling. Not as much as the Ultraman series, but there's a lot of that animation going on, and a lot of people take offense to it because it's not traditional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wish there was
true.
more of a
That's
balance,
very true.
like Singular Point. Singular Point had a pretty good balance of anime and some CGI shots
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind the CGI shots, but sometimes it's just
To me, a lot of that animation looks like awkward sometimes. Like just in the it doesn't feel like the human characters are moving
it's
very
like Beast
human.
Wars. That's
Yeah.
it. It's got that Beast Wars 90s CGI.
Listen,
feel
Beast
to it.
Wars. Don't go there, man. You're gonna hit me in the heart there.
I mean, yeah, I love it, but when I was a kid, you know,
Yeah.
if we watched that now, it'd be like, woo.
Dude, you watch that, it actually still holds up. It holds up. The animation, you're like, ooh, but
yeah,
it's still great.
The animation,
still great.
But yeah, that was the peak of. That's when it first started.
Yeah, I mean, in the 90s is when CGI was really starting to really come into play. Like, most ones that stand out to me is Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park was the first movie to really incorporate CGI and practical effects.
Yeah, ILM killed itself.
Yeah, basically. Basically, yeah.
It was like, we love practical effects. Yeah, I found this. This could be cool. And it just,
Yeah.
like, so many people must be so pissed. Like,
So
at the same time, like, you know how many jobs were lost because of that? But now,
Oh yeah.
Now
yeah.
it's-
Wait till the AI
Actually, yeah,
stuff.
John
Oh
would
my
be
God.
the I don't know if you know this. John does work in the movie industry.
I did not know this. I did
Worked
not know
on
this.
Spider-Man, yes? One of
Yeah,
Spider-Man?
Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, both of them.
Yeah?
Yeah, Men in Black 3, America's Got Talent, and then I got onto the show called The Blacklist with James Spader,
Yes.
and I've
Very familiar with
I've
it.
been there. Yeah, we just wrapped the last and final season 10, back in May.
Oh my god, it's been
so
going
that's
on for
pretty
that
much-
long?
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a majority of my career. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's absolutely nuts. Yeah.
So I've always wondered, when something ends like that, like what's the next step for you? Like obviously, like this is going to be huge for you, but in your terms of your film career, like what's the next step after that? Like, do you just go find something new? Is there something lined up?
There's never anything. There's no guarantees in the film business. There's none. And right now there's a writer's strike, and we're on the verge of an actor's strike potentially.
Oh,
but
man.
we don't really know.
An
yeah,
actor strike.
They have,
Yeah,
they
it's-
have a union.
What,
Yeah, they have a big
are they,
one,
are they
too.
complaining they're getting paid too much? What's the problem?
not enough. And
Oh, it's always not
It's
enough.
not enough.
No one ever complains that they're
Oh.
getting paid too much, my man. Come
Oh
on.
my god.
yeah, well, it's 85% of that union is unappointed at any given moment. So there's
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
That's very true.
AI is a big thing. AI is driving the Writers Guild and the Actors Guild
Yeah.
with these negotiations. So yeah, the summer's been quiet in New York and New Jersey, and if something starts up, picket the writers will show up and picket, and the Teamsters won't cross the picket lines, and the job gets shut down. They just shut down Daredevil, that got shut down, and they shut down a bunch of stuff actually.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, in a normal year, the people that are sort of in charge sort of get another job, and then they bring you along, or I can call around and get other work. But right now, I'm just taking the summer, taking it off, and doing a lot of Ultraman T-shirt designs, my friends. A lot of designs because the more I get into the pipeline, quicker I can get them approved, and then the more I could just release them and re-release them and release colorways and variants and exclusives. So
That's amazing.
just throwing a lot of spaghetti at the wall with Ultraman right now.
Let's see what sticks, right? Yeah.
We got some. You sent me some of these clips, which I think is so cool.
I love this clip.
Yeah.
This clip is great. Just seeing
Yeah,
it in
so
action.
basically, these shirts, I was going to go with the traditional screen printing, but because I work digital and the colors I use, it was highly recommended to me to use this. It's a hybrid printing process. So as you can see, it's a screen printed base on the face, on the front of the shirt. And then it, like you see in this video, it's basically like a giant printer, and it just goes back and forth, like you see in it. I don't even know why I'm explaining it, because you can clearly see it in the video. Again, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I have no idea what's going on. But no, a traditional direct-to-garment printing would just be, that sort of back and forth machine. I don't know what the hell you call the machine. It's just like an inkjet machine.
Mm-hmm.
But with the screen print base, it's more durable, lasts a hell of a lot longer, and it just really captures my artwork almost perfectly, like too perfectly, to the point where I'm seeing like the flaws, and I'm like, oh my god, why did I delete that, or what did I do? And screen printing sort of hides some stuff.
As two guys that have a ton of T-shirts with just decals all over them that we never get rid of,
No,
AJ and I
I
have
don't
the
even
same
fit in half of them
Transformers
anymore,
shirt
but I still got
that
them.
we've had for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as long as they're durable, everybody will love them.
So speaking of, if anyone is interested on this, John, where can they get these?
They go on my website, www.robo7.com, or Big Bad Toy Store, but they are selling out quickly.
Ooh.
And also holymountainprinting.com. They're doing a red Ultraman variant t-shirt exclusive. So those are the three sources. So my website is www.robo7.com. That's the main place to buy my shirts.
I just dropped the link in the chat and pinned it, so definitely by all means check out John. I can say that this shirt, got it on right now, this has been washed, and it pretty much, I don't know if anyone gets shirts from like Cavity Colors, it's pretty much on point with anything that you would get from them, and it didn't shrink, which is fantastic. Even with Cavity Colors, and this is why I asked you for a 3X at the show, just because it seems like everything I wash, it always shrinks, and the shrinking on this was very minimal, and because this was a 2X, you didn't have 3X in person.
Are you washing in cold water? Is the question.
Come on, man.
Throw everything in the
whatever
wash.
Kelly throws it on is what happens. Okay, I don't go up and check. I don't know. Hi, Abby. I'm not, and then I'm not gonna be like, oh, Kel, you shrunk my shirt. Like those
No,
are
you're not gonna do
battles.
that.
You don't get into those battles.
No, the shirts look great. The coloring is great. I love the finish on it. I love that it's like matte. I have like a couple like glossy finish shirts, which I hate. I don't even like.
Yeah, glossy shirts are hard to pull off. It really depends on what it is. These are great. The quality is great. I love that the process, like, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like something that you're gonna wash. It's gonna come right off. And you're like, oh, great.
No, they're beautiful. They're great. Pick one up.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely, man.
It's like, you're putting your name on stuff like this, right? And it's it's my first time doing it, and I don't want to, just roll out some junk. It's like, you with the Spiral toy, you got probably arguably one of the most legendary sculptors in Japan working on it. You're not going to just.
Yeah, we tried to get basically the masters. Yeah. And like, who better than these guys? And it came out great, and more are going to be hitting people this week and next week. And I'm hoping to get pretty much, I'd say like 80% of them out before G-Fest, because TJ Storm, who is the mocap actor of that Godzilla, will be at G-Fest. So I know I had a bunch of people requesting like any chance that we'll get it before so they can get it signed by him, which I think is awesome.
That's awesome. That's got to be so cool. Like,
I'm actually
gonna get
upset
signed.
that like I can't make it, because that would have been great to be even like gifted to him, like, hey man, this is you.
I got this
like,
for you.
I got this.
I made this for you. No, that's incredible. Like, guys, like this is a huge achievement for both of you. Like, this
interview's not about me though.
But it's like you don't see this happen every day. Yeah, you really don't. You don't see it happen.
No, you don't. You don't. For me, a buddy of mine, I was on Collect All Monsters, and my friend David asked me, why did you pursue this? And I said frustration. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, because all these companies have the licenses, right? And they're doing, like, Mondo has a license, and Cavity Colors, and and I love Cavity Colors. I love what they're doing, and Ghost X Ghost, they're all doing Godzilla t-shirts, and I've been trying in vain to get hired to do some, essentially work for hire, right? And I'm basically working for someone, getting paid X amount of dollars, and I do some design and get paid once and whatever. And I was just, like I said, just trying to get a gig. I want to get my foot in the door. I want to be part of Godzilla history. Yeah. And then finally, when this shirt idea came into my head, I said, I'm going to be the master of my own destiny. Like I go to work and I work on these sets, and I'm working there 40, 50 hours a week, trying to get a set done for a multi-billion-dollar corporation and busting my, And it's like, well, I could just do the same amount of work for myself and get this stuff done and get it out to the market and be a part of it. It's like, be the master of your own destiny, basically. So, good things come out of frustration and setbacks and hurdles. I mean, that's, for me and AJ. I'm sure AJ feels the same way.
Yeah, Spiral Toy was born of the pandemic, basically.
Right.
lost my career because of the pandemic, and then
Right.
Kaiju Live, everything, the auction show, the website kaijulive.shop, like I did that for 2 years, and it grew exponentially. And then unfortunately, it kind of hit its peak, especially with, again, I'm a very niche thing. I'm just selling Godzilla stuff for the most part. Every now and then I'll have some Dragon Ball Z stuff. Like I branch into it a little bit, but it's not a lot. But with all these delays, it's hard to really have a cash flow in it when you have such a laser focused item that you're just focused on selling. So it's like, oh cool, I got 40 Mezco orders, but it's delayed for 2 years. So it's like, you're spreading out all that stuff, and then people lose faith. I mean, we dealt with that with Spiral. Spiral Studio launched during the pandemic, and everyone was pissed because there were a lot of delays, because this is,
logistics were rough.
Logistics were crazy, and it's a brand new company. He's got a lot, there's, like, even right now, like, there's things that you can't foresee, that like the hurdles that are there, that you only know about them when they happen. And you're like, okay, didn't see that one coming. All right, how do we pivot? Like, even with the Spiral toys right now, they're coming in. I'm doing my own, like, quality control on them. Like, if they, because the beautiful thing about soft vinyl toys is they squishy. Okay? So, like, it's very, very hard for them to actually be damaged. Like, they would have to be cut in half, or something would actually have to slice it in most cases. Or sometimes the glue, if there's any glued parts. So, because it's hot now, and this is coming all the way from Japan, not all of them look perfect. Some of them got, like, legs that are too close together. So I'm fixing all of them. And
Get that heat gun out.
I got my heat gun out. I'm going nuts. My dad thinks I'm crazy. He's like, people know how to fix these, right? I'm like, I don't care. They have to be perfect.
No, but you know what?
They have to be perfect.
People appreciate that extra step. They really do. As someone that buys a lot of stuff, and I especially, like, I do a lot of Kickstarters for, like, board games and things like that, and that's 2 years, 3 years. Like, you're waiting on a product, and then when the product shows up and it's like not what you expected, you're disappointed.
Exactly. I don't want someone to, like, take it out of the box and, like, his
like,
feet are touching.
I gotta deal with this now.
And you're like, I gotta, or his dorsals are kind of pointing in different directions because he got warm. It's like, no, cause that's how I am. Like, when I take something out of the box, if I want it to be a happy moment, so to speak, and not instant negativity, like, oh, look at his face, it's smushed in, or something of that nature. Just like John was like, he could see all the, we don't notice it, but he's looking at his print like, you should have
take that away.
Exactly. I don't want, it's,
as a creator, you're always gonna find a flaw in everything that you make, but at the same time, people won't see that. People will see the beauty of what you guys do, and both of you are just talking to you guys are like, there's passion behind all of it. It's not just like a day-to-day thing, like, I gotta get up in the morning and do this. No, it's instinctual. You're not even looking at the clock. You're just like, oh, I have this inspiration, let me do this. Oh, I have this drive, I have this idea, let me go do this. And that's,
I think I'm using way too much bubble wrap too. I go back to Staples. I'm like, man, am I going a little too crazy? Too much.
Are you? Is there such a thing? It's too much bubble wrap? I don't know, man. I don't know.
John, are you handling the shipping of the shirts too, or is that coming from someone else?
Right now, it's all me. It's all out of my apartment right now.
Yeah, man. So it's.
I'm sure your wife loves it.
Living the dream.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, early on, like when they first hit, I mean, my notifications were going on constantly. I mean, I think I had like 20 orders in the first day, which is crazy.
Wow.
But now it's sort of leveled out a little bit now that most people have them. And plus, it's the summer. But I am doing a show next Friday at Japan Village. It's in Brooklyn. It's an industry city. It's a big anime food fest. And I'm trying to hold back some shirts, so I can bring them to, conventions and whatnot. And I'm also doing Japan World Heroes in Burbank in August, which I'm excited about because I've never done it. And, I'm trying to just hold back some inventory so I don't have to, like, keep putting in new T-shirt orders, and I could just, go there and just sell them and not have to worry about, getting them shipped on time and quality control and everything that comes with that. You
Yeah.
know, I am trying to have a Tiga Dyna Gaia shirt ready for August. I'm just waiting for final approval from Tsuburaya because one of the actors from Ultraman Gaia will be at Japan World Heroes. And I'm also looking to do some solo kaiju shirts. So I have an Alien Baltan shirt I just submitted for approval. We'll see what they say about it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm trying different things, you know, because like, you know, I'll show you guys this Ultra 7 shirt.
Woo!
There
Oh,
we
that's
go.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was, ironically, this was the first design I've ever done. I did this back in 2018. And, you know, like I said, Ultra 7 is my favorite, but I redid Ultra 7 in the middle there for when I submitted it for this approval. And basically, I had this design, and then I made the Ultraman design as AJ's wearing the shirt. I know it was just fan art. That's all it was. And that's why these two shirts are sort of companion pieces, because I did them just because I wanted to do the original series like that. Some people are like, can you do every show like that? And I said, no, because that's a lot of work. And I don't really like Ultraman 8 that much. You know, and I don't
50 shirts.
Yeah, it's hard enough selling Ultra 7, much less Ultraman Leo. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to, you know, unfortunately, you know, when you're doing this stuff, and I'm sure AJ can attest to this, when you get a license, you want to maximize it, and you don't want to, like, throw out obscure stuff because you have to go with, I think you should go with the stuff that's more recognizable and more popular, you know, and then you can sort of throw some deep cuts in there. Maybe, like, my Baltan shirt might be a small run of 50 shirts, you know, just like a limited release. But I might do a Shin Ultraman shirt that'll have like a wider release just because it's recognition, you know?
Yeah.
So I am one of the only people operating like this in the United States. And Ultraman, like we said, isn't a household name yet, but there are things in play that are, you know, we'll see what happens.
I think Shin Ultraman is definitely going to help. And then if that new movie was, you said next year, I mean, if that's a hit, you know, we just got to hope it's not another Godzilla Earth situation because... if Godzilla didn't have the MonsterVerse happening and Shin Godzilla, like when that was going on, that show might have single-handedly, like, where, you know, Toho's like, we're gonna take a 10-year break, like that might have been the show that did that, because universally it's probably the most hated Godzilla thing since like Godzilla 98 until, you know, now. I mean, most kids that have seen it like when I was younger are now older, and that movie's gotten a lot more love. People want more Zilla merchandise and all that, but like Godzilla Earth gets like nothing from anybody.
Right. So I want to ask, like, which variation of Ultraman do you think is the most recognizable, the most popular, that people gravitate towards, that would really just jump to like, oh my god, I need that?
Definitely the original.
Yeah.
For the most part. After that, honestly, I would say Ultraman Tiga. Because Tiga had a release here in the States back in 96 or 97. It was on Fox. It was 4Kids Entertainment released it, but they dubbed it, so it was almost like a parody, which is kind of silly. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. And I would say Ultraman Towards the Future, because that was my introduction to Ultraman. That was the Australian Ultraman show. And Jack Shindo, I'll never forget, he was the human host. And that actor, Dor Kraus, he still does conventions, and because he knows that, you know, people like really, that show really resonated with them, myself included, because like I said, that was the first one I've ever watched. But I will say, from experience, because I've also spoken to Toho, because I may or may not have been looking to get a license to make Godzilla shirts, to be continued on that. But working with Tsuburaya, they really care about the character.
Yeah.
I mean, they really care about the character, and the people working on the Netflix show are huge Ultraman fans.
See, that's
whereas, yeah, Shannon Tyndall is one of the people, and I forgot the other guy's name, but I follow him on LinkedIn, and he talks about how it's a childhood dream. And Tsuburaya wouldn't allow it if it didn't service the character, or if it wasn't true to the character, which I really, really like about them. Whereas you had the Godzilla anime, and I think they basically said, I'm paraphrasing, but Toho was like, yeah, you know, do whatever you want, you know, it's whatever.
And then ironically though, Singular Point is like a love letter to all monster movies.
I love Singular Point. I thought it was great.
Like, yeah, it gets a little nuts, and
it's weird in a great way.
Yeah, like I totally get why some people are turned off by it, but the foundation of the show, like, they are referencing everything. I mean, Ray Harryhausen's Rhedosaurus poster is in the movie, is in the TV show. Like they're referencing everything across. It's just a love letter to giant monster movies, and I love it. And hopefully we get a second season because we need that Mechagodzilla, man. You can't just leave a Mechagodzilla like hanging.
You're
there
talking
like
about
that.
like one of the most recognizable like people see Godzilla and
then
then
it's
people see
yeah.
Mechagodzilla.
And then like King Ghidorah and Mothra are probably like in terms of general. I get Rodan's probably up there too. The core four.
See, I feel like though, like as someone that is like, I don't even want to like say like a fair weather fan, but
wow, that's
that's a little
messed up.
I'm a little stronger than that.
I invited you onto this show.
I know, I'm terrible. No, but like I don't know I love jumping into lore of like everything. Like if I'm into something, I gotta dive into it.
Yeah.
So only knowing, like I was a fan of Godzilla as a kid, and I remember when they used to have the Godzilla marathons on like Sundays on like like Father's Day or something.
Speaking of that, Pluto TV, John, you know about this?
I've been watching it all weekend.
Yeah, if people don't know, Pluto TV now, which is free, has its own Godzilla channel.
Stop.
24/7 running
No.
Godzilla. Yeah. It's awesome.
I might have that on in the background.
Yeah,
the
like
entire
it's
time.
totally, and it's everything too. It's movies, some of the animated series stuff.
But
like,
it's not like you're not like skipping anything from like different eras and things
Oh,
like
I'm
that.
sure
It's-
it bounces around. It's
yeah.
24 hours.
No, but I mean like they're not like leaving out.
No,
like,
I'm
certain
pretty
eras.
sure. I think everything's included. I don't think there's any. I don't think they had any restrictions or
No,
anything
it's
of that
everything.
kind. Yeah, which is just wild. So Pluto TV, it's free, and right now it's kind of like every Godzilla kid, everyone's inner Godzilla is just
Attack
screaming.
Peter just called me a filthy casual. I get it. It's
Oh
cool.
my! Yo, Peter,
cool.
what's up?
It's cool.
Well, the other thing about Pluto TV, which is a guilty pleasure of mine, is Tokusatsu is also another channel on there, and they play all the Ultra shows. They play Super Sentai. They'll play Godzilla movies, and I'll just sit there and binge like Ultra 7 and Ultraman Mebius, and I'll watch crazy Power Ranger episodes. Gridman is on there.
Gridman?
So that's another-
Gridman. Yeah.
Oh
Gridman
my
is-
god.
yeah.
Gridman's
So if
like
you're a
brutal,
Kaiju,
right?
yeah.
Is
No,
Gridman
not
the one that's
really.
brutal? That's Redman, right?
Yeah. Or something like that. It's
That's
not
Redman,
Gridman.
yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
Gridman.
Yeah, one of them. I remember one of them is like a psychopath that just like murders these things.
Probably Redman. Yeah. Yeah. But no, it's a great time to be a kaiju fan in the States, and Pluto TV is basically your one-stop home for all things, kaiju and tokusatsu, basically.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, it's with everything being digital now, everything's just so readily available. And I know like it was a lot depending on which license you get, like people can only show certain things and take certain versions of Godzilla or, things like that. It's a great time to be alive, in terms of being kaiju fans.
I mean, yeah, I would say Godzilla vs. Kong kind of changed the game in a sense of
It did. It definitely did, because even
bringing
like
him more mainstream. Like I know Godzilla 14 was not really received well, and then King of the Monsters, basically you had to be a diehard Godzilla fan to really enjoy it.
I wouldn't even say that, but like it's still a good movie on its own.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of like
that movie has that
movie
has all
has
the deep
every, like,
cuts. That movie has all the deep cuts.
I think you appreciate it immensely if you're a Godzilla fan. But as like as someone that just enjoys like movies, it's still a good movie.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I just Godzilla vs. Kong just hits.
Well, it has
different.
that just blows everything out of the water. That's why.
Yeah, that end battle is it's insane.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like I was lucky
they
enough
just did it.
to see that in
go ahead.
IMAX with my dad. Where there's at the time, because that was like the movie that like kind of saved movie theaters at that time when no one was going. So when my dad and I saw it, there was like 5 people in there. So you get that perfect center. It was crazy. Like when Kong's like swinging down the street, you're like, this is nuts.
This is it. This is it right here.
Yeah.
No, it's great because like you feel the love of these creations. Like you feel like the people that are working on them really just want a good product. They want to bring that character love. And
it's like the. I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no.
But I'm gonna cut you off.
We're all New Yorkers here.
We're all New Yorkers
It's
here.
fine.
Oh, good, good. Staten Island, Long Island, it's fine.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I remember, so like, remember like all the early Marvel movies are sort of hit and miss, and DC has just been sputtering horribly. You know,
Indeed.
the Marvel films really hit upon something. At least phases 1 through, I don't know, up until Endgame, where I remember like going to my parents' house and I found an old Avengers comic book, right? And I opened it up and it's like the Masters of Evil are attacking Avengers Mansion. And I swear to God, this book from the 80s, there was just story beats and dialogue and et cetera, that was in the Marvel movies. Basically, the essence of those characters was there in those movies that was on the page. And that's why they've had so much success up until Endgame, because they were so true to the characters to a certain point, right? Because they have to update it for modern sensibilities and
Sure.
all this other stuff they have to sort of work around. Like Iron Man's origin wasn't Vietnam, obviously it was Middle East, so you have to update stuff. And I think with giant monsters, especially Godzilla, for me anyway, if you're not true to the source material or the character born of radiation, then it's kind of like, what are you doing it for? He's just like a heroic dinosaur, really. And that's why I didn't really connect with the legendary films. But again, to sort of go back to Subaraya and the sort of brown nosed a little bit, if you will. They like to keep it true to the essence of the character, and if it's not, they're very particular, let's just say, about their character and how it's represented in the world. So I've had 13 pages of changes I had to do on that Ultraman shirt that AJ's wearing right now, because they were very particular, but they care about the character, and it's hard to not respect something like that.
I feel like it's worth it. Even though they came back to you with changes, it feels like, no, this is it. This is what I've been like working my passion towards. No. It's
It was, like I said, I was so hungry for an opportunity to be a part of the history of the things that I love. And like I said, all these doors would just kept closing in my face, and finally I just kicked the door open and I said, no, I'm doing this. I don't care. I'm doing it. I was bringing my iPad to work with me, and I'm in the office like while my crew is out there painting sets, and I'm in there like drawing like changes to Mephiles or like Red King on that shirt. And I mean, I was going nuts. Trying to get these changes ready, because as you know, AJ, once you submit stuff for approval, it takes weeks, and by the time you get it
weeks,
approved,
months,
especially with toys.
Yeah.
We're doing officially licensed Bemular Sofubi with Seismic Toys, and we started the process last year, so like last summer up until now, we just got it approved, and by the time we go to production with it in China, we're not going to see this toy in our hands until end of the year, maybe even early next year. And then the clock's ticking on your contract at the same time, so you're just trying to like get it in a certain time frame so you can maximize your license and not waste any time with it.
Absolutely, man. What do you got, man? Hit us with your best promo outro. And thank you.
Should I do like the Macho Man? Put on the hat, put on the big cowboy hat.
There you go.
Cream rises to the top.
Ultraman rises. He does that thing, right? He's like, rises
to the top. Oh, man. Now, where can they find you? Where can they find your socials?
Socials, Instagram is always the best one. It's at ROBO7, but it's spelled out ROBOSEVEN. But you can get all that on my website. It's robo7.com. That's ROBO7.com. Again, I have a Mega Monster Battle Ultra Galaxy, the movie t-shirt, coming out next. A bunch of different colorways for that one. I'm excited about it. Tiga Dynagaia, Alien Baltan. And I don't want to make any announcement because nothing has been signed, but for the New Yorkers and all of us here, I'm trying to get a New York-based Kaiju-centered show off the ground.
Okay.
Based in Brooklyn. We're looking at early October. Don't have a name for it yet. We're still a ways away from, I don't want to say too much, but I don't want to jinx it. But let's just say I have interested parties, and we're very excited about it. And again, it's just
Dude, that sounds awesome.
you know,
That sounds great.
yeah, I had the G Fest door closed in my face the last few years, and I said, I'm
It's such a shame.
I'm gonna help. You know what, man?
It is what it is.
I've
Yeah,
been-
no.
yeah, I've been through all the emotions. Technically, I could roll in there in my Ultraman shirts, like on a chariot, and be like, "Yo, these are licensed. You can't say anything." But
You can't say no.
anyway, yeah, can't say no. It's licensed. It's what you guys want.
Sound the horns.
I did what you told me.
I
Yeah,
did.
sound
I
the
did
horns,
my
but-
due diligence.
Exactly. So I'm just sort of taking the destiny in my own hands, and I'm trying to get something going over here. Obviously, I'd love to come back on the show when everything's formalized, and I'll
Yes,
we'll
man.
go
Anytime.
over
I wanna know all
everything,
about it.
Right. So I just wanted to tease that and just to get people a little excited about that. All right.
Appreciate that, man.
Sounds great, man.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Thank you so much for coming on. Have a happy 4th, and we'll
Yes,
catch
thank
you
you.
later, man.
Yeah.
Robo7,
Have a good one,
everybody.
guys. Thanks.
Robo7.com. Check them out.